So once I got out of the Army, it was in August of 1971. Came back home and joined the Tennessee Army National Guard, and that was an artillery unit in Chattanooga, and that unit was an 8-inch howitzer unit, and in that unit, the 8-inch howitzer fired a projectile that weighed 210 pounds, and we would fire at targets up to 25 miles away. And so when we would go to summer camp to practice, I remember we had a training exercise where that we had a general there, and we were actually firing. I don't remember how far away it was. I think it was about 10 miles away. The target was, and there was a 50-gallon drum that was in the center of the target, and our forward observer called the coordinates in such that we dropped that round in the 50-gallon drum on the first shot, and the general actually at that point in time stopped the practice and came down and congratulated our gun. That was pretty fun, and so I stayed in the Guard for until 1975, and met a lot of good friends in the Guard there. It was everybody was Chattanooga born pretty much, and we got to know each other, and we made. I can remember there was two stories that I remember vividly. When you're a new guy in a gun unit, one of the things that we would do is we would send the new recruits looking for the crocus wrench. And so we would say, "Oh, go down to gun number 2. They've got the wrench. Go down there and get it." So they would walk down to gun number 2 and ask them for the crocus wrench, and they'd say, "Oh no, we gave it to gun number 4. Go check with gun number 4." And they'd go over there and look at ask them about the crocus wrench, and then they would send them somewhere else. The story was there was no crocus wrench. It was just kind of a fun thing to have the guys walk around and look for. It's kind of like looking for the snipes. The other thing that we kind of was an introductory thing for new guys in the battery was, especially when we were firing at nighttime, is that we would tell the new guys, now make sure and watch, when the gun goes off, watch the end of the gun and watch the flame come out of it. Well, the flame would come out, but it came out so bright that it would blind you for about 30 seconds. And that was pretty scary when that you watched the flame come out, but then you went blind for about 30 seconds. So that was kind of another initiation thing for the guys to do. And the unit, when I first went in, it was 8-inch toads, which meant that they had to be dug in the ground to fire. They weren't mobile, and that was a pretty hot job during the summertime to dig the guns in. Later on, we got the self-propels, and they had the plow blade on the back of the gun, and you could dig it in using the plow blade, and that was a whole lot easier. And I remember another time at summer camp that we were camouflaging the guns, and we were cutting brush to camouflage the guns, and we got into some poison sumac bushes, and some of the guys were really allergic to the sumac bush. It's kind of like poison oak, and some of them ended up in the hospital because we just stayed out there after we, and so they got pretty got pretty swole up and had a lot of itching and bumps on them, and some of them had got in their eyes, and they had to go to the hospital. So that wasn't necessarily a fun part of it. So as time goes on and you look back, there's lots of memories that you have. It's one of those things that didn't really wasn't too crazy about doing it when I did it, but it's one of those things that I'm glad that I did, and that I was willing to serve my country. And fortunately, I didn't have to go into battle, but a lot of guys did, and I was around a lot of guys that had been in battle, especially at Fort Rucker. They had a lot of guys, especially helicopter pilots and the door gunners. Now, one of the things in Vietnam about the door gunners was they actually had a belt hooked to them, and they would hang outside of the helicopter firing the 50 caliber and the 60 caliber machine guns, and that was actually pretty easy targets for the Vietnamese Viet Cong, with the guys just hanging out of the side of the door on the helicopters. A lot of guys had pretty short lives as a door gunner. Pretty easy targets. So let's take a break.